What is good, Fin Nation? What's good? It's your boy Reason. We are back here for another one on this Monday as we begin to head into minicamp, as it'll start tomorrow on Wednesday and Thursday. I hope everyone had a fantastic start to their week and not dealing with too bad of a case of the Monday blues. We do have quite a bit to talk about. If you're a Patreon, you got my 3 takes video. Came out early Saturday morning. So what you're hearing today probably isn't overly surprising you, though it's not correct. So we're going to talk all about that Dalvin Cook stuff. I'm going to line it up for all of y'all because there's quite a bit I know about the situation. And, you know, a lot of misinformation going around today. A lot of misinformation is being spread today regarding this. I want to also say this. Listen. Anyone in the chat saying that Raheem Mostert is better than Dalvin Cook, you don't know ball. That's the worst. That Dalvin Cook is a top 5 running back in the NFL. Only 2 running backs over the last 4 years have averaged at least 1,000 yards per season. Nick Chubb and Dalvin Cook. That's it. And Dalvin Cook, 3 of those seasons, he did it with one shoulder. He was on a bum shoulder for 3 seasons, avoiding contact from it. Anyone in the chat saying that, because I'm seeing someone who's saying, I'm not going to call you out directly, but anyone saying that, bro, you don't know ball. Saying Mostert is better than Dalvin Cook, let's stop lying to ourselves right now to try and fit and spin narratives. We don't do that on this channel at all. That is one of the worst football takes I've ever heard in 2023, and maybe since I started this channel. It's not even close. Look up what stats. Over the last 4 years, there's only 2 running backs in the NFL that have ran for over 1,000 yards or more each season. Nick Chubb, Dalvin Cook. That's the stat that matters. And Dalvin did it on a bum shoulder. A bum shoulder, avoiding contact with the shoulder. That's not even close. Stop right now. Trying to go off average yards per carry. Give me a break. Give me a break right now. Off one season is the only thing you can do with the yards per carry. Stop that right now. Raheem Mostert had 1 RB1 season in the NFL. And that was 2019 when they went to the Super Bowl and they lost. And that running back 1 stretch mainly came in the playoffs. Stop right now with the nonsense. Let's stop lying to ourselves to try and make ourselves feel better about what we got. That's one of the most ridiculous things I've ever heard. Ever heard. Automatically, your football opinion becomes null and void on this channel when you say dumb stuff like that. Anyways. So, let's just start off. Let's just get into this because this is where everyone's, yard per carry doesn't take a lot into the equation. All right. When you got less carries too, right? I believe Dalvin had 80 more carries than Mostert. You slap those 80 more carries onto Dalvin Cook, onto Mostert, that yards per carry number coming down. All right, so and same with same with Jeff Wilson. You slap on the same amount of carries, that number's coming down. And take away one of their shoulders. Each one loses a shoulder. Each one can't have a shoulder. Shout out to Jeffrey Ward for being an all-pro. Been here for 1 month. Appreciate y'all. Appreciate each and every one of you. Hey, smash that like button. Subscribe if you're new. Help me with my friend Al. Everybody's pal. All right? Help me out with my friend Al. Help me out with my algorithm. Just smash that like button. Subscribe if you're new. We are on our way to 12K. Appreciate each and every one of you coming through. We're going to get into it because guess what? We have some stuff to take care of. And let's start off, sometimes you got to inform the misinformed, and the misinforming isn't done by the idiots in our own fan base. It's done by others. So let's Let's do this. What's going on, Kingsy 305? Oh, come on, son. I gotta ask this. Is Ted Lasso good? My friend, Ted Lasso is everything. Q. Ted Lasso is absolutely amazing. If you haven't had a chance to see it, brother, I really, it's only 3 seasons now too, right? So I do recommend, if you haven't had a chance, go check that out. Go check that out because you'll like that. And the funny thing is, for all you card collectors out there, I guess NBC Sports Network had put out cards, about like 2014 or something like that. And they actually made a Ted Lasso card, and they're only giving out as promo cards. And there's in the card, he's the manager of Tottenham Hotspur, but in the show, he's the manager of AFC Richmond. Anyways, that card just sold for like $7,500. Crazy for all you card collectors out there. So, anyways, let's get into this because we got a lot. We got a lot to go over here. So let's start off. I guess we'll start off with this whole rumor, and let me just break it down for all y'all, okay? So this, I don't know who this is, okay? This guy, when someone says per my illustrious sources, automatically don't take them seriously. It said Minnesota is still trying to trade Dalvin Cook, but he's agreed on an $11 million deal with the New York Jets. Okay, I'm not even going to go further because right then and there, that tells you this is bullshit. Okay, right then and there, that tells you this is bullshit. Okay, so on Patreon 2 days ago, on Saturday, timing's everything. I love how I'd been telling all you guys that I know who the second team was, and it wasn't the Buffalo Bills. And I'd been teasing all y'all, and then I dropped it on Saturday on the Patreon in the video of who the other team was. I'm here to tell you, yes, the other team is the New York Jets. I know that for a fact, and I know it's because Breece Hall. You know what's funny? Check this one out. Before I even got the information, it's my word, before I even got the information that the Jets were the other team, okay, I was on the phone with, funny enough, Dolphin fan, and we were talking about the other team, and I said, you know what, before I got that information, and you guys know how long I've been telling y'all it ain't the Buffalo Bills, so I've had this information for a bit now. I literally said to Dolphin fan, I bet you it's the New York Jets. And the reason why I said that is because the night before I was looking at the cap and just seeing all the teams that have cap. And I noticed the Jets had like top 6, top 7, top 8 cap space. And I was like, oh, and they don't know what Breece Hall is going to be. There's uncertainty if he's going to be ready to go week 1. I guarantee you. And sure enough, when I found out who the other team was, it was the Jets. Now, let's take this even a step further. Dalvin Cook and his agent, this has been reported publicly, and I can tell you this privately. They have not been given the green light to discuss contract terms with... They haven't even been given the green light to seek a trade, let alone discuss contract terms. So when someone tells you they've agreed on a 2 years, $11 million deal, that's bullshit. Because they have not been given the chance to seek out money and a new contract. So if you see someone report, oh, they've agreed on this money, blah, 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 it's bullshit. Because that has not happened yet. They are not in those stages. And I was told, listen, so take it for what it's worth. But when I was told it was the New York Jets, when I started telling all y'all it ain't the Bills over a week ago, and I was told it was the New York Jets, I was told Dalvin doesn't want to go to New York. Okay? Here's another thing people seem to be forgetting. Do you know what the state tax in New York is? We can still offer less money and pay him more than what he'd get in New York. Do you know what the state tax is in New York? And do you think he wants to go into a situation where he knows they're just going to give the job back to Breece Hall? At least coming to Miami, you know A-Chain's going to be at best the number 2 to you for year 1. It's your backfield for year 1. Even if it is a committee, you're the running back 1. So I said this when I dropped 3 takes on Saturday, and I'll tell all of you Dalvin Cook wants to be a Miami Dolphin. He's willing to take less money here, all right? And especially less money is going to even out once you add in state tax in New York. People seem to forget in that. And what people really seem to forget, I timestamped it for all of y'all. Let's get away from sources and what everyone's heard, and let's go to what you have all heard. I literally timestamped it. It's got almost 10,000 views. Go to the Nick Hicks video. Literally timestamp. Dalvin Cook wants to finish his career in South Florida. What do you think? This guy's playing until he's 39? Dalvin Cook has got his bag. He will get paid. Listen, he's not going to break the bank, but he's going to make more than $3 million a year. They'll find money for him. And he's about his legacy right now. He wants to win in South Florida. So, it's funny because Saturday I dropped the whole New York thing, the Jets thing in the video. So all my Patrons who watched it, there's over 240 of y'all. They were probably like, okay, New York Jets, New York Jets. And then obviously, forced to basically talk about the Patreon update tonight because of the information that's out there. Yes, the Jets have pursued. This goes back to why I've told y'all Dalvin hasn't been moved. There is another, Bobby Schaus reported it, and he was correct, that there was another AFC East team inquiring about Dalvin Cook. I'm here to tell you, yes, that team was the New York Jets. I told all my watchers on Saturday, and since people have been speculating it's been the Buffalo Bills, since last week I've been telling you, no, it's not the Buffalo Bills because I knew who it was. And here's the thing. They're going to have to bring up a serious bag and put it on the table for Dalvin Cook. Serious, you're going to have to make up for the state tax, and you're going to have to make up for the fact that he wants to play at home right now. I mean, again, take away the sources. Take away the public reports. Take everything aside. His own trainer came on this very channel and told all of you he wants to finish his career in South Florida. And the man's... We're not talking about a guy with 10 years left on his career here that'll come here in 8. So, listen. As for... This is just why it hasn't happened, because there was another team interested in inquiring. But see, what another consistent thing you've heard, and why he has not been traded to New York, what have you consistently heard? That the Vikings want to do right by Dalvin. What does that mean? What does that tell you? What does that tell you? That if they were just willing to get it done, they probably just would have shipped him to New York. So, don't know what to tell you. And the release is going to be the very last resort. They're trying to work something out, and we've made it hard. We've made it hard. And we will continue to make it hard. I've been telling y'all for weeks, it's Jalen Ramsey all over again. It's literally Jalen Ramsey all over again. Like, we're on June 5th right now, and everyone's talking about Dalvin Cook, and I'll say what I said on Friday. I'm shocked they haven't added a defensive tackle. Hell, we could use it. I posted the poll on Twitter, and people got defensive. Dolphin fans get defensive, that's for sure. Do we have the worst tight end room in the NFL right now? I mean, name our tight end room. Durham Smythe, Eric Saubert, Tyler Croft, Elijah Higgins, Tanner Connor. So we got 2 prospects, 2 number 3, number 4 tight ends, and a number 2 in Durham Smythe, who's our number 1. And that's not a slight against Durham Smythe. And I see everyone's, well, as long as they can block, okay, that's cool. But there's people out there that can do both. They can threaten the seams and they can block. I mean, say what you want, defend it how you want, but we have probably the weakest tight end room in the NFL right now. So I think we could add another tight end. That's the whole reason I put the poll up. You know what I mean? I go back to we traded Hunter Long to them. Could we snag Tyler Higbee for like a late round pick and add him to the room? Because Tyler Higbee and Durham Smythe would be a very interesting combination. I like that combination. That's a good combination. That's a very interesting combination. I think Tua would love that. And you could get him for very, very cheap. So, I brought it up. I'll bring it up again. Tyler Higbee, he's on his last year of his contract. You got probably get him for cheap right now. I don't know. Hey, make another move for a team that's selling. Why not? I don't see how that's a bad move. I just think we got a really weak tight end room, and I think we can add someone to it that can, and to Durham Smythe's credit, he's gotten better as a receiver every year and become more and more of a little bit of a better threat. But at the end of the day, come on, So, hey, we'll see how it all works out. But let's get into Dalvin Cook because Albert Breer, all right, Albert Breer wrote this in his Monday morning quarterback column today. And this is what he said. The Dolphins' earlier dalliance with Dalvin Cook and maybe a renewed one is a window into the next phase of his career. Minnesota and Miami came very close to a trade that would have made Cook a Dolphin back in March. And that's what's interesting about the deal that fell apart then is how the vision the team trading for him dovetails with how the team trading him away sees him. The idea for Miami was to add another big play threat to an arsenal that already has two of the game's most explosive receivers in Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle in the holster. And after that one came undone, and as Minnesota contemplated a price it'd be comfortable bringing Cook back at, which obviously would be less than $11 million he's due, the Vikings discussed using him more sparingly as an explosive complement to Alexander Mattison. Minnesota also drafted Dwayne McBride in the 7th round, and the Vikings like him as another depth piece alongside Ty Chandler and Kene Nwagnu to give him more flexibility in their decision-making on Cook. Would Miami still be interested? Maybe, though that desire for a big play back was at least to some degree addressed in the 3rd round of the draft with the ultra-explosive Texas A&M back Devin A-Chain coming in. So there you go, verified right there. The deal was almost done in March, and it fell apart, and we moved on to Devin A-Chain in the draft, and I think that's when it turned into, okay, we want Dalvin, but we want him at our, I talked about this back when this was all going on, when all these speculations were starting to ramp up. What did I tell all of y'all? Now you're starting to see that I ain't been guiding y'all, misleading you. I was telling you, if you go back to March and you find my videos talking about Dalvin, what was I saying? Minnesota's asking too much. Miami wasn't playing ball at their asking price. They were overvaluing a devalued position. And with the draft coming up, teams are going to stand pat and see what happens. You know what I mean? That's why a lot of teams talked about potentially an offer sheet coming in with Lamar if he didn't get worked out with the Ravens after the draft on teams who might have missed out on a quarterback. So, with Dalvin Cook, with such a devalued position, Minnesota just didn't play their hand right. And now the problem has come that it's a known secret, like it's a well-known secret on these YouTube streets, on these Twitter streets, and in NFL circles. Dalvin Cook wants to be a Miami Dolphin. He doesn't want to be a New York Jet. I was told that directly. So, listen. Could it happen? Sure, if the Jets vastly overpay. But as I know right now, due to state tax and the fact that he wants to come home and win a chip at home, Miami is his number one destination, and that has not changed. And the only reason the Jets are the team that's stepping up, that's why Dalvin hasn't been moved yet, because we're not the only team interested. And like I've been telling you guys, they don't want to release him. They prefer to trade him. But this might turn into a situation where they just gotta cut their losses and let him go. You know, I don't know what they expect, what they think they're gonna get for him, but it ain't happening. Right? You're not gonna get a bunch of teams stepping up for a player that they all think doesn't want to commit to them and wants just to go home. They're not gonna step up for that. So, and I see Jet fans flip-flopping, you know, another example, you know, Cook was washed and no good, and now that Jet fans think that they got a snowball's chance in hell, Cook is good again. It's the same thing with Jalen Ramsey. All of a sudden became washed up when he became a Miami Dolphin. It's absolutely ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. So, and I've been telling you the whole time, and I can tell you again, he's willing to play ball financially to come to Miami. People don't understand how badly he wants to come home. And he knows the team tried to trade for him, so he knows the team wants him. You know how hard that's going to make it for another team? He knows the Dolphins tried to trade for him. He knows under the right terms the Dolphins would embrace him all day, every day. His home team will embrace him under the right terms. Sometimes, listen, we talked about this before this team started popping. We talked about how good the location was. 90% of the NFL lives down there during the offseason. And that's home for this man. And he's an elite player. And he sees a team that's becoming elite. He wants to be part of that. Think of it. He trains with Tua. All of our guys, he sees them on the field working together with Nick all the time. He wants to be part of that. He trains down here anyways. I don't think people realize home is where the heart at is. Home is where the heart's at right now for Dalvin. Now, can the bag change that? I'm sure it could change any man's aspiration and outlook. But right now, I know for a fact he wants to play in Miami. All right? So, I don't know what to tell you other than that. Continuing on here, were the Dolphins actively trying to shop Cedric Wilson to the Dallas Cowboys, something that's been rumored and whispered about? Well, according to Cowboys Country, on June 2nd here, the Dolphins have themselves some of the best wideouts in the game in Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle, and they continue to have a desire to move off Cedric Wilson, the Cowboys' ex-receiver who is set to make $7 million this season. A source tells CowboysSI.com that the Dolphins have made exploratory phone calls in an effort to rid themselves of Wilson's contract. And this goes back to what I've been telling all of y'all, that I know they want to find a way to keep River Craycraft on this roster as wide receiver 6. And I keep telling y'all he's been pushed down by Chosen, Braxton, and Izakama. Right now, Cedric's wide receiver 6. And there you go. We are making exploratory phone calls. This is something we were active in at the beginning of June. And that tells us they're willing to eat some of that dead cap. Wilson left Dallas and signed a 3-year, $22 million deal with the Dolphins last season, but soon after, Miami traded for Chiefs Hill, and Wilson quickly found himself buried on the depth chart as far as QB Tagovailoa targets. And, listen, I'm not here. Listen, this is what he said. I work out every offseason to perform when the game comes. I want to be here. I'm here right now. That's what it's granted to be, so I'm going to give it my best. For me, I just told his agent in the front office, let me know whatever goes on after the fact. I'm at work. Don't bother me with it every day. Sounds like a man that knows what the hell is going on behind the scenes right now. It might have quietly requested a trade. Listen, this is the inevitable. Doing our due diligence, calling, this is why I just can't understand where the agreeable terms aren't being found for Cedric Wilson in a trade for Dalvin. Why not? Maybe that is what they said. Maybe that is. Maybe the Dolphins, I don't know the exact trade details, But maybe that is what they said, and they said, "No, we don't want to eat that cap." I don't know. I do know it wasn't like a first or a second or anything like that. So, when a trade, sometimes the most simple thing is the most obvious, and it seems like this is the most obvious match made in heaven. They need help behind Justin Jefferson. We need all the explosive talent we can for this AFC East run we're about to make. I see people suggesting no egg monogamy. Yeah, even Brian Flores is saying I'm good. This is what I call no inactivity. So, I don't know about that. But sometimes the most simple solution is the most obvious. And it seems like Cedric Wilson, and I'd give Cedric in a 7th or hell, I'd give Cedric in a 5th to get rid of that contract for Dalvin. Hell, I'll give Cedric in a 4th to get rid of that contract. Because then that's money you just put towards good old Dalvin's restructure. And that's another thing that's holding this Dalvin trade up too, right? A lot of teams aren't fans of that contract. He's only got $2 million guaranteed. They know he wants to be in Miami, but you know you need to restructure that deal and give him more guaranteed money. That's where things could get difficult, right? That's why I think a lot of teams would prefer he come to them on their own terms. All right, you've seen highlights going around. One specific one about, Tyreek Hill telling everyone why everyone should be hyped up this year for the Miami Dolphins and talk about Tua and everything. But there's 2 other clips I wanted to go over, courtesy of the homie Bobby Shouse. And the first one is Hill and Chubb here. They hype up year 2. Let's talk about this one first. I got 2 clips from Tyreek Hill's latest podcast with Bradley Chubb. Let's check it out.
And I think he has a chip on his shoulder. And I think he gonna
100%.
Excuse my language. He gonna fuck some shit up next year.
Man. The funniest
I think
thing,
y'all
Coach,
gonna do something
the
crazy.
Funniest thing Mike do every week, bro. You and J Dub running y'all go routes and all that, and, you know what I'm saying, in practice. He looked to the defense, walk by, throw his hand up, boom, motherfucker. As soon as they catch it, bro, it'd be like right on time. He don't even be looking.
You see what I'm saying?
He just be throwing the hand
different,
up,
bro.
You see what I'm saying?
I see it, bro, for sure.
Bro, as a player, bro, when you do that many plays in one day, bro, like I need that, coach. I need that energy from you. I need to know you out here, not just calling plays and making me run them. Yeah. I need that energy from you, bro.
Watch
and coach
this.
brings that energy each and every day.
I mean, you know it's coming. The Boom Motherfucker shirt is coming on this channel for sure. We're about to drop a Boom Motherfucker. But, Tyreek talks about it. I mean, just I got to hype up McDaniel here. The culture that he's built there. Look at how quickly a veteran who was under my favorite coach in the NFL, Andy Reid. Mike McDaniel, and they you hear the host talking about, he's going to F some shit up this year. I can't wait to see what Mike McDaniel has up his sleeves. I've heard some stuff privately. I've shared some stuff to you if you guys have been listening closely about what they're going to be doing this year. And, man, I get why they want to add Dalvin Cook even to what they have. I get why they want to do that with what they have playing this year. This year, you are going to see Bama reincarnated in the Shanahan offense led by McDaniel. It's going to become the McDaniel offense. So I'm so hyped to see what they do in year 2 and what McDaniel cooks up for everyone in year 2. And we're talking about the coaches. We're giving the coaches their flowers right now. This is what Chubb had to say about Vic Fangio.
Yeah, you about to get a new DC.
Nah, it's live, bro.
And then you play for him too.
Played for him too, man. So I got a chance to learn in the system, be under, one of the greater defensive coordinators in the league. You know what I'm saying? And
he's like that.
He's like that, bro. I'm trying to tell you. And like I said, bro, every year, like my second year, I made a Pro Bowl. You know what I mean? And that was under his defense. But like my first year under his defense, got hurt, like I said. And my third year under his defense was Von got traded, and I was like dealing with some stuff. So never really got a chance to live out my full self in his defense. And the year I did, I made a Pro Bowl. So I feel confident that me and JP, Justin Simmons and Pat Surtain, all pros in the same defense. So we got Javon Holland, Brandon Jones, we got Xavier Howard. Like, bro, the pieces we got, Vic Fangio is going to take us to the moon. So I'm excited.
You hear that? Bradley Chubb just said, with the pieces we got, Vic Fangio going to take this team to the moon. Right? While people were talking about Tua and all this stuff when the Vic Fangio hire was happening, and over here we're breaking down what's going to happen in the defense, what's going to be. Man, we got a potentially top 10 offense and top 10 defense for the first time since when? Like, how are people being negative and not hyped about the possibilities of this season? Like, there is a real reality here where Bradley Chubb and Jalen Phillips each have over 12 sacks. Like, this is arguably one of the best rosters we've put together. And it's definitely the best roster since the Ricky era, when we were a quarterback away from having arguably the most complete team in the NFL when you look at our defense and offense. Unreal. And look at the excitement of Chubb saying, the man said, I can reach my potential in Fangio's defense. Fangio's defense allows me to reach my potential. Think about that for a second. That's ridiculous. So all of you people that said the Chubb trade was a bust and you got a couple of months to retract your statements. I'm just letting you know, because that man's entering the Hard Rock with a plate, a napkin, and some eating utensils. You know what? Because it's feeding time for Bradley Chubb. Real talk. Real talk. Heading over to Dov Kleiman here, Bro Bible. The Dolphins QB Tagovailoa is now a major voice on the team after this incident in practice. Miami Dolphins quarterback Tua Tagovailoa has dedicated his offseason to improving his performance on the field and becoming a leader in the locker room. According to ESPN's Jeremy Fowler, Tagovailoa is currently in excellent health after recovering from multiple concussions last season. Fowler confirms that Tagovailoa completed his recovery from his previous concussions. Quote, I was told he's completely healthy now. The quarterback has also been incorporating jiu-jitsu techniques into his training regimen to learn how to fall and protect his head in the pocket. Notably, the Dolphins have even implemented jiu-jitsu workouts for all their quarterbacks before practices, ensuring they're prepared to protect themselves during falls. Tagovailoa's dedication to his physical well-being and innovative training methods have played a role in his return to optimal health. In addition to his physical progress, Tagovailoa has displayed significant growth as a leader and has been a major voice at OTAs. During a recent practice, when the offense was performing poorly, he took charge by stopping the entire session and addressing the team. His new willingness to hold his teammates accountable and provide constructive criticism reflects a marked change in Tagovailoa's leadership style. Fowler said that this is a role he would have not embraced a few years ago, highlighting his development into a voice within the Miami Dolphins organization. Tagovailoa previously admitted that he considered retirement due to the physical mental toll that the previous season took on him. Having experienced several concussions last season, he contemplated stepping away from football. However, after consulting with medical professionals and specialists, he received assurances that he is not at a higher risk of future concussions of developing CTE. With Tagovailoa's restored health, improved leadership qualities, and impressive on-field performance, the Miami Dolphins have the potential to become contenders for the Super Bowl in the AFC. As the new season approaches, fans eagerly anticipate witnessing the continued growth and success of Tua Tagovailoa as he leads the Dolphins on their journey to victory. So, we're going from a guy, remember, under Flores, didn't like the leadership, and he specifically asked players to vote for him as a team captain. Now we got a guy who McDaniel and the staff last year said, you need to embrace this role as a team captain. You need to take it on. And what have we seen since McDaniel and that new regime tasked him with it? He's taken it on full on, head on, full force, and he's embraced it. You've seen it since the luau with Tua to where we are right now. Him with players on both sides of the ball. And, we saw his relationship with players on both sides of the ball, dating back to when Landon Roberts was clearly consoling him because of what he was going through with that coaching staff. And that was a Flores guy who was consoling him, who knew what kind of a dick Flores was being. So you look at the growth just from a maturity aspect. And last season, when everyone jumped down my throat, when I told all of y'all he was going to mature this season, everyone started guessing of whether he had found a woman or was having a kid or whatever the case may be. And I was just saying, I've been talking to people, I know the step of maturity, the growth that's happened. That was just from talking to people. And you're seeing it now continue to play out before you, as Tua Tagovailoa is turning into one of the better leaders in football right now. Players want to come here and play for him. I mean, look at how big of a believer Tyreek is. Jalen Waddle. We told all of y'all that Jalen Waddle, Mac Jones stuff was just to help Mac Jones' draft stock. You look at it now, there ain't no question who the better quarterback is in the NFL right now. So people need to relax, because Tua has turned into the leader we have been hoping he would become. Let's just hope he can stay healthy and continue to lead on field, because this team needs him. Tua is becoming one of the heartbeats of this team, and I love every minute of it. Not only is his play and the reliance on his play, but now the reliance on the human being, the player, and the leader. Beautiful stuff. Beautiful stuff. All right, continuing on. Barry Jackson says, on position switch, defensive line drama, young corners, and 5 thoughts on the Dolphins defense. So 5 things he thinks about the Dolphins defense heading into this week's mandatory minicamp that runs Tuesday through Thursday. The decision to use Andrew Van Ginkel, Summit inside linebacker, is a smart one because of new starter David Long's durability questions, and because it makes sense to get him on the field more. Obviously, we can agree what Barry says here. Long is an upgrade over Landon Roberts, particularly in pass coverage. Hamstring injuries sidelined Long for 7 games in 2021 and kept him out for the final 5 games in 2022. Titans coach Mike Vrabel said after last season that he wants Long to find a way to avoid soft tissue problems, calling him a repeat offender with those type of injuries. For whatever reason, he was only a partial participant in Wednesday's session, the most recent one, open to reporters. Van Ginkel, if he can muster the production and master the position, gives the Dolphins another option besides Duke Riley if Long is sidelined. We won't know what the Dolphins have in second. This isn't, he's not really giving a ringing endorsement to Channing Tindall, because he's saying we won't know what we have in Channing Tindall until padded training camp practices and preseason games. There should be great comfort that the Dolphins will be better positioned to survive an injury to cornerback than they were a year ago. Not only does Jalen Ramsey make this a top 5 cornerback room in the league, but rookie second-round pick Cam Smith has flashed early, making nice plays in coverage in 2 sessions open to reporters. And Nick Needham is progressing in his return from a torn Achilles. He posted a video of himself running this week. Kader Kohu, who had a pass breakup during the open media practice last week, looks like he would be a solid secondary piece for years. Kohu is the only Dolphins defensive back who has ever intercepted New Jets quarterback Aaron Rodgers. With Needham, Kohu, and potentially Smith, the Dolphins ideally could have 5 players worthy of a top 3 cornerback spot on a team. If there aren't any July or August injuries, it's difficult to see a path for Justin Bethel or Noah Igbenogany, to make the team, presuming Keon Crossan sticks as 6th corner. If Needham needs more time, then Bethel or Igbenogany could make the 53. None of Crossan's $2.8 million salary in 2023 is guaranteed. His cap hit drops from $3.1 million to nothing if he's cut, but he played well enough last season on special teams at quarterback to warrant return, provided he's decent in training camp. And, you know, this is something we've discussed. Even still, let's say they're keeping a 7th. Don't you keep Justin Bethel? You maybe keep Justin Bethel over Keon Crossan because Bethel is better special teams. And aside from that interception Noah had, Justin Bethel wasn't very good last year, but even he was better at times than Noah was. There are going to be difficult financial decisions at defensive tackle, which is what I've been telling all y'all. Here they come. The Dolphins and Christian Wilkins camp have been negotiating for weeks, but as of the weekend, there was no extension in place. Both sides want to get it done, but getting to a number appears challenging. David Mulligata is Wilkins' agent. At least Wilkins is earning good money this upcoming season regardless at $10.7 million. Sieler, who hasn't intended that OTA sessions open to reporters, will earn a team-friendly $2.5 million in 2023, a salary way below his value. And it's no secret he wants a new contract. It will be interesting to see how Sieler and agent Drew Rosenhaus play this. While all practice sessions up to this point have been voluntary, this week's minicamp is mandatory. Then there's the issue of how much to pay Raekwon Davis if the Dolphins keep him beyond 2023, the final year of his contract. Davis earning $1.4 million in the final year of his contract looked slimmer last week, but declined to share a weight. Davis has put pressure on the quarterback in OTAs and said getting better as a pass rusher is my new thing. It remains a mystery why Davis was good enough as a pass rusher to have 8.5 sacks in his second year at Bama, but just 2 sacks over his final 26 game at Alabama and 1.5 in 46 games as a Dolphin. But he's a critical part of the run defense. So, you know, all of this we've talked about, right? Like, we asked, did Zach Sieler and Connor Williams quietly hold out through OTAs? And, you know, I get the Dolphins because the Dolphins want to take care of Wilkins first because he's the biggest ticket item. And, you know, seniority rules in that situation. So you want to figure out whether you're paying Wilkins or not, and then you figure out Zach Sieler or Connor Williams. I get that. Now, Raekwon Davis, I've said this before, this is going to be a proven year for him. This is going to be a big year for Raekwon Davis, and I think that's why he's focused on improving his pass rush for this team. Keep an eye on rookie edge rusher Mitchell Agudier. He has at least 3 sacks in 2 OTA sessions open to reporters. If the Dolphins keep 9 linebackers, there's an opportunity for Agudier or someone else to supplement Baker, Long, Van Ginkel, Tyndall, Bradley Chubb, Jalen Phillips, Riley, and Malik Reed, who seems likely to stick, but it isn't guaranteed anything. Of the undrafted rookies on defense, Agudier has made the biggest impression during the open practices. His 7 forced fumbles in 30 games at UCLA and UM shows ability to be disruptive. I'll be curious to see what Jackson State linebacker Aubrey Miller and USC defensive tackle Brandon Pilley do when training camp begins and contact ratchets up. Both undrafted rookies got $100,000 guaranteed. There's still a need to add a low-budget defensive tackle as depth. In the undrafted free agent market, the Dolphins' greatest talent is their ability to find young defensive backs. They struck with Needham and Kohu, and they've been in high regard for former Mississippi State and Kentucky defensive back Kedron Smith, which became clear when they agreed to guarantee him $125,000. That's believed to be the highest guarantee of any of the team's undrafted rookies. Smith began his career as a cornerback with the Rebels, then moved to safety in his final season there, then transferred to Kentucky where he returned to cornerback his only season there. But the Dolphins have him playing safety, and his size at 6'2" and ball skills make a potential intriguing fit in the defense. Oh, Deshaun Elliott has some competition, huh? If he makes the 53 or practice squad. And so does Rowan McKinley. Smith permitted an exceptional 55.5 passer rating in his coverage area as a cornerback last season with 22 of 37 targets caught for 234 yards, averaging 10.6 yards allowed per catch, but no touchdowns and no interceptions. He's competing with Elijah Campbell, Rowan McKinley, and undrafted Oregon rookie Bennett Williams for 4th and perhaps 5th safety job behind Javon Holland, Brandon Jones, and former defensive line starter Deshaun Elliott. The Dolphins are listing Bennett Williams and Smith as safeties and Ethan Bonner as a cornerback. Of the 19 defensive backs under contract, 2, Crossan and Campbell, are listed as defensive backs without any position designation. Though Mike McDaniel has implied that Trill Williams is cross-training at safety, he's listed at cornerback. He missed last season with a knee injury. So, a lot of little nuggets there, right? So, we've now found out that Keaton Smith was the highest guarantee. Again, another cornerback. They love finding their gems at that position. Trill Williams confirmed cross-training at safety, like we've been talking about all offseason. Mitchell Agudier, he looks like he's leaped Cameron Good, and he's really, really, really going to vie for a edge spot. If he can play special teams, he's going to make the team. If Mitchell Agudier can contribute on special teams, I see him making this team if he continues to keep progressing and playing at the level he's been playing at throughout training camp, mini camp, etc. Christian Wilkins, they've been negotiating for weeks. I told y'all, me and Neil told y'all weeks ago they were far apart on numbers. I hope all y'all believe us now because there are people saying, oh, you guys are stirring it up. No, we're just telling you what we heard, and now you can see that they're far away. Zach Sieler, that's the fall. That's plan B. They can't work it out with Wilkins. If Wilkins is asking for too much and they just don't feel comfortable, they'll pivot to Zach Sieler and we'll figure out what they're going to do with Connor Williams. And then Raekwon's, I think Robert Hunt would get locked up before Raekwon right now if they had a chance. But Raekwon is in a prove-it year. That's all there is to it right now. So, me and Neil, we're gonna give you our top 10 storylines, heading into training camp for the Miami Dolphins, and this is gonna be one of them. We already even hinted at it, but ESPN came out with an article about the top storyline for all 32 teams, and for Miami, Marcel Louis-Jacques, obviously Miami's coverage, he said Tyreek Hill, the storyline to watch is going to be the battle for wide receiver 3. He said Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle are obvious 1A and 1B in the Dolphins passing game, but the team has several options for its third starting receiver. Miami signed Braxton Berrios and Robbie Chosen this offseason, and the latter was a standing out during OTAs. Eric Ezukanma, Cedric Wilson, and River Craycraft are also in the fold, but this is a position battle that will last well into training camp. I mean, I'm telling you, this is, everyone who's going to be going down to training camp this year, I think this is going to be something y'all are just going to have fun watching this year of who wins that battle. It's going to be we got a very, very talented and a very, very deep wide receiver corps in Miami. We really do. It's a beautiful thing to behold. It's a beautiful thing to behold to go from a couple of years ago where guys couldn't separate and we were having to lean on Mike Gesicki and Lynn Bowden Jr. in 2020 to now we have a plethora. We don't know who to keep and who to cut. I mean, we went from basically homeless in the wide receiver corps to, okay, someone threw $1 in our cup when Jalen Waddle got drafted, to now the cup is overflowing with dollar bills. So, what a beautiful time to be a Dolphin fan. I mean, you go back to the old receiving corps with Chris Chambers. I mean, you got to go back to like the O.J. McDuffie, Irving Fryer days, and the Duper brother days. You literally got to go back to the Duper brother days to even try and start to replicate what we got right now. Sorry, the Mark brothers. I always call them the Duper brothers. I don't know why. We got to go back to the Mark brothers to really start to replicate what we got in-house. And even then, we're deeper. We're deeper. You got to go back to Mark Clayton and Mark Duper to start even getting close to what we have. Man. I agree, Jethro. I love Sherfield. Trent Sherfield was the dude. I wish him nothing but the best except when he plays us. Bleacher Report, they came out with an article, one player each NFL team should trade. Now, you might be thinking Noah Benogany. You might be thinking Cedric Wilson. Nope. They went a different area. They went Jeff Wilson Jr. They said the Dolphins re-signed running backs Raheem Mostert, Jeff Wilson Jr., Salvon Ahmed, Myles Gaskin in free agency for using a third-round pick on Texas A&M speedster Devon Achane. Miami might not be done adding to its running back room either. According to Barry Jackson of the Miami Herald, the Dolphins signing Dalvin Cook, if he's released by Minnesota, is certainly a real possibility. With Achane in the fold, Miami already has a surplus of complementary backs behind Mostert. Not all of them will make the 53-man roster. Unfortunately for Miami, Wilson's probably the only one with any real trade value. He was acquired from San Francisco for a fifth-round pick in November and went on to record 551 scrimmage yards and 5.1 yards per carry for Miami. Getting a fifth-round pick for him obviously would be unrealistic for the Dolphins. Ackman, Gaskin, who combined for only 90 rushing yards last season, aren't bringing anything close to that in a trade. With or without Cook in the equation, Miami must at least consider dealing Wilson, despite having signed him to a new 2-year deal, but we can get out of that deal right away. And then below, obviously, Minnesota, Dalvin Cook. But let me talk about this for a sec. Let me say why I wouldn't trade him. I wouldn't trade him because my 4, even if it got Cook, would be Cook, Achane, Mostert, Wilson. Mostert, by the midseason, will be the complementary piece to Achane, and Jeff Wilson would be my complementary piece to Dalvin Cook. That way, if anyone gets injured, I have a complementary piece that can step in and fulfill the role that I depend on those guys for. So that's where I'm at with that. That's why I wouldn't be so quick to move off Jeff Wilson. Personally, for me. I mean, people in the chat might think different. I don't know. But that's where I'm at with it. I wouldn't personally move him off. And shout out to 1017, man, watching the Best Dolphins show and getting married in less than an hour. My God, man. Congratulations, bro. Man, I've been with my wife for 10 years this summer. Married for going to be 8 this year. So, congratulations, man. Congratulations to you and the wife. I hope you have a fantastic, blessed day. Getting married on a Monday. That's interesting. I'd love to see an explanation of the Monday marriage, just out of curiosity. But shout out to 1017, man, getting married in just under an hour. Shout out to you. Okay, I got a question for the chat, inspired by this PFF post. So PFF said, in the AFC East, the best 3 players on each team: Josh Allen, Von Miller, Stephon Diggs for the Bills, Quinton Williams, Sauce Gardner, Aaron Rodgers for the Jets, Tyreek, Hill, Jalen Ramsey, and Jalen Phillips for the Dolphins. And then for New England, Matthew Judon, Josh Uche, and Ramondre Stevenson. Mac Jones didn't even make that. Okay, so I want to get everyone's thoughts in the chat right now, whether you're watching live or whether you're watching after the fact. Who are the 3 best players on the Miami Dolphins? Because I think, personally, it's Tyreek Hill, Jalen Ramsey, and Jalen Waddle right now. Jalen Phillips, when he establishes himself over 12 sacks this year, which I think that'll change to Jalen Phillips after this year. But right now, I think Jalen Waddle is number 3 based off of what he did last year. I mean, the guy put up wide receiver numbers behind the best, put up wide receiver 1 numbers behind the best wide receiver in the NFL and arguably the best athlete that's ever stepped in the league. So I want to hear in the chat, who are your 3 best Dolphins right now? I want to know. Mine are Tyreek Hill, Jalen Ramsey, and then I'm going to go Jalen Waddle. So you let me know. Oh, okay. 1017. 3 kids and you've been with her for 20 years. Yes, it is long overdue, my friend. Kudos to you for walking the plank. I mean, walking the aisle. Oh, man. See, I like it. Hill, Ramsey, Holland, Tua, Tyreek, Waddle, Hill, Ramsey, Waddle. I agree with them. Phillips, Hill, Ramsey, Waddle, Tyreek, Hill, Waddle, Ramsey, Tua 4. So, I mean, we're saying Tua should be mentioned. Hill Ramsey. So, Tyreek Armstead. Ooh, Red Horse. Hey, Armstead is the one that can be. Armstead could be the third one. Agreed on that for sure. Hill, Ramsey, and Waddle, somebody to choose from. So, I mean, guys, we just did that exercise. And the answer is, Barry Bailey, Hill, Ramsey, and Waddle agreed. But so many to choose from. When was the last time you looked at a Dolphins roster and you were looking at this like, man, who are the three top guys? Who are the three best Dolphin players? Ron, who are the three best players on the Dolphins right now? PFF says Tyreek Hill, Jalen Ramsey, Jalen Phillips. I say Tyreek Hill, Jalen Ramsey, and Jalen Waddle. But I think after this year, Jalen Phillips is going to be in that top three. And Tua could be in that top three as well if he's in that back in that MVP conversation. If Tua's in that MVP conversation after this year, you got to put him in the top three. We're so stacked. It's such a beautiful thing. It's such a beautiful thing. You got to love it. You got to love it. Guys, minicamp, we are back tomorrow. Over 490 of you in the room. Smash that like button. Subscribe if you are new. Minicamp open tomorrow. Open to the media all 3 days. We'll be live Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. We're going to be live a little early on Wednesday for the finish line because we're going to get to you before the Heat game. All right? So I'm going to be live tomorrow night. I will see all of y'all on that one. You already know what time it is, baby. Fins up all day, every day in the comments below. Give me your 3 best Dolphins on the roster right now. Love all y'all. Have a blessed day. And I will see all of y'all right back here tomorrow. Fins up, baby. Let's get it. Mini camps here.